I am Umaru Sanda Amadou. Tonight, I'm here with
Nashika Caesar.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes, President Mahama orders for feature of salaries of his appointees who failed to declare assets within the stipulated time. Meanwhile, he has his warning for them.
By close of day Wednesday, 7th May 2025, any of you still fails to declare your assets,
is that there is a commonality, that there is the need to protect the independence of the judiciary.
We'll tell you how that demonstration went down. And later on Eyewitness News,
if you think because your name is shortlisted, you will be appointed, a lie. If you don't appoint the nominee, those shortlisted will also make sure that they will not appoint it. Even if we have to reappoint someone, we'll go outside the box to do that.
Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu spits fire on persons who were unsuccessful at being named as Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives in the Greater Accra region. She says they are instigating the recent rejection of President Mahama's nominees to the various assemblies. Still 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
government indebtedness to GNPC balloons to $1.5 billion.
That's in 50 minutes from the Citi Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a host of affiliate stations. In the Western region, we are on Premier 100.5 FM, Beach 105.5 FM, and Sky 93.5 FM. All of them are based in Takoradi. In the Bono region, we are in Sunyani on Greener 95.9 FM, and in Ahafo region, we are in Goso on Hames Radio 106.5. In Ashanti region, we are in Kumasi on Orange 107.9 FM. In the Volta region, we are in Pando on Akpini Radio 96.7 and Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe. In the Northern region, we are in Yendi on Dasuma 99.1 FM. In the Upper East region, we are in Zuarungu on WED 88.3 FM. In Upper West, we are in Laura on Westlink 88.1 FM. And in the Northeast region, we are live on Eagle FM 94.1 based in Wali Wali. We are live on YouTube and live on Facebook. Just look for Citi FM. We are also very interactive. Join the discussion by sending messages to 0549 986 996. That's the WhatsApp number, 0549 986 996. You can also go on Twitter, now known as X, and send your messages by mentioning my handle at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sandamad here with Nashika Caesar, who has our first story.
President John Dramani Mahama has taken disciplinary action against political appointees who failed to meet the mandatory asset declaration deadline of March 31, 2025. According to the president, information from the Auditor General revealed that some appointees in his administration ignored the directive. As a consequence, he has ordered that 3 months' salary should be deducted from these officials, which will be donated to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. He further urged officials to also forfeit 1 month of their salaries to the costs of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund.
The 18th February 2025, I set a deadline of 31st March 2025 for all appointees who are taking office or being nominated at the time to declare their assets. An update provided by the Auditor General to my office indicate that some of you failed to meet that deadline. For all those who are appointed or nominated before 31st March 2025 and failed to meet the deadline, you are to forfeit 3 months of salary to be donated to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, named after me, Mahama Cares. In addition to 1 month's salary that I've asked all appointees to donate to the Mahama Cares Trust Fund. So it means that those who omitted to declare assets by the date, you are paying 4 months' salary to Mahama Cares.
President Mahama also added that all appointees who fail to declare assets by May 7, 2025 will be dismissed.
Debt on that area has ballooned. The energy sector needs urgent surgery. urgent surgery. Otherwise, it can collapse everything. And so when the Minister of Finance says the economy is turning around, you have a 2.5 billion debt. Your bailout is only 3 billion. And so 2.5 billion debt sitting and breathing, and you say the economy is turning around, that alone can crash everything that has been done. And so they want to create a more upbeat, story about the economic management before they leave office. But like I said, we're going to open the books when we come and let Ghanaians know what the true situation is. Because if Ghanaians understand what the true situation is, then they will understand some of the measures we have to take to bring things back to normal. Yeah. And so we would expect, if we can cooperate with you.
President Mahama further warned political appointees that his administration will strictly sanction anyone who breaches the newly launched Code of Conduct, regardless of their status or connections. The code prohibits the awarding of government contract to oneself, family members, or close associates, describing such acts as a betrayal of public trust. The president said sanctions ranging from reprimand to suspension and dismissal will be applied without fear or favor.
Holding stakes in companies that deal with government or with your ministries, using insider knowledge for your personal benefit, awarding contracts to entities that are connected to yourself or your close family. If you're a dormant partner in any business engaging with the government, even outside your ministry, you must disclose it in writing to this office. Not through a telephone call, not through a relative. You must submit an official declaration. Failure to do so will result in disciplinary action. Number 3, interest of friends and family. Public perception matters. You must avoid making decisions that benefit your relatives or your close friends. You must not recommend them for contracts or appointments. If your actions give even the appearance of bias, you compromise the integrity of your office. Number 4, gifts and hampers. We all know our cultural fondness for gifts, but we must now draw a clear line between appreciation and influence. Appointees are prohibited from accepting gifts or favors, especially from companies or individuals with interest in governmental decisions. This is a very strict code, I must admit. But if we abide by this code, it will restore the faith of our people in our democracy. Strict compliance with this code will restore confidence in the political elite and help to consolidate our democracy. And so I expect all of you to do your best to abide by the code.
That was President John Dramani Mahama speaking there.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's speak to his minister in charge of government communications, Phyllis Kwachofo, who is also MP for Abrasibu Communication. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Have you declared your assets yourself, or you are forfeiting 3 months or 4 months salary?
Hello?
Yes, have you yourself declared your assets?
Oh, yes, I have. I did that a long time ago, way before the deadline.
Which means that your 3 months salary will be intact, except the 1 month that you've had to contribute. How seriously is the president taking this issue of asset declaration? Because he sounded very tough there.
Exactly. I mean, you can tell from the severity of the sanctions imposed and the new deadline that he has set that he means business. Because 3 months salary plus another month, making 4 months salary, is pretty steep for anybody who knows how important salaries are in the life of a human being. It goes to show that the president is committed to enforcing compliance with the asset declaration regime. And this also goes to show that there is a president who is committed to making sure that his appointees conduct themselves in accordance with specific laid down regulations so that people do not veer off and do things that are contrary to the demands of their office. So the president is extremely serious about it.
I see. And also threatening to sack people from his government if they do not declare their assets. Tell me more about what his plan is on that. So
people have from the rest of, in fact, today is done because the day has closed. So they have the whole of tomorrow to ensure that they declare the assets. If by Wednesday they've not done it, then they can only have themselves to blame. The president will enforce the intended action of dismissing them from office because they've had considerable time to have done all this well.
Interesting there, but again, he appears to want to push the funds or the proceeds of this indiscipline, if there will be any, into the Mahama case. Why that?
Well, I think that we all appreciate the difficulty that people have footing the high cost of treating certain chronic diseases. And only last week, man, exactly a week ago from today, President Mahama launched the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, which people popularly call Mahama Case, intended to raise some funding to help those who are in need and who need treatment for various chronic diseases. The president himself donated 6 months' salary. The health minister donated 3 months of his salary. I was present, so I donated 1 month salary. And the president has asked all appointees to donate 1 month salary. So those who are defaulted will have another 3 months added to make 4 months. And through that, we will raise substantial funds to help with the work of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. But it also goes to show that the president is not interested in anybody's money. He is sanctioning people and using the proceeds for a worthy cause. So that even as you fail to comply with his directive, the effect of the sanctions imposed on you will go to benefit others who otherwise would have had difficulty footing their medical bills.
Okay, now the understanding I'm getting is that there are already persons who fail to declare assets whose 3 months salary would have to be forfeited. Is that accurate?
That is true. All those who were appointed or nominated before the deadline, they are the ones affected by this. Those who were appointed after the deadline can, in all fairness, not be asked to forfeit this amount, especially when they've not necessarily breached the directive. But those who were in office or were nominated before 31st March are affected by this.
How many people have been affected? How many appointees have been affected?
Well, I think that I would have to reconcile the figures, but I must indicate that the publication by the Fourth Estate was not exactly accurate. There were people who had actually filed their asset declaration forms who were erroneously placed on that list. So it is not as high as the Fourth Estate indicated, but it is a number that we can reconcile because on a daily basis, people file, and so the numbers reduce. So we need to get to the deadline before we are able to tell how many have actually complied.
So you don't know how many as of now?
Yeah, because as of 31st March, there was a certain number. As I speak to you, there are people who are filing today. So it will not be fair to give you a number because that number could prove to be inaccurate in light of additional filings that would have been done today. By close of day tomorrow, we'll give you a final figure. And those who would have defaulted would be in for the punishment that the president outlined.
And would you also tell us the names of these persons?
Well, if the president so direct me, I'll do so.
Okay, but you do not have that readily available to share with us?
No, I'm not in a position to disclose that at this moment. I think it's only fair that we allow the people the grace period given them before we are able to comment in that direction.
The non-declaration within the stated period, is it an illegality or it is just a breach of an instruction by the president?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that there's a 6-month window in the constitution and the law, if I'm not mistaken. So the breach as of now is a breach of a directive.
Okay, not of the law.
Exactly. But once you breach the law, when the deadline elapses, you are liable for dismissal, removal from office, and being banned from holding public office for up to 10 years. So there are pretty stiff sanctions for violating this provision in the law.
Very well. Before you go, I do know that there are plans to give us some details around the 120-day compact with Ghanaians. Could you quickly tell us about that plan before you leave us?
Oh, yes. On Wednesday, the president will hold a broadcast in which he will render account for his stewardship in the last 4 months or 120 days. And therefore, I would urge Ghanaians to tune in and listen to the president so that they can draw their own conclusions as to the level of compliance with the very promises that the president made to the people of Ghana.
So these are. So he's going to tell us what status of
yes,
policies.
He will give an update on what he has been doing in respect of the 120-day promises. So he will pick each one and account for its implementation.
In the past, we have had Meet the Press series with presidents. President Mills did that. President Mahama did that. President Akufo-Addo did it, I think, once or twice and stopped. Is John Mahama, the president, going to reinstate that? Should we expect an invitation to come and question the president?
Yeah, the president is very media friendly, and you know it. Even in opposition, he was opening himself up for scrutiny, both to traditional media and to social media. And he used to do Facebook Lives, he used to go on Twitter Spaces to engage people in the comfort of their homes. So he is very committed to running a transparent administration, and part of that is meeting the press regularly. He will meet the press at a designated time, and we will announce that for everybody to hear. But on Wednesday, that's May 7th, he will do a broadcast in which he will outline the implementation status of the 120-day promises.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
The pleasure is mine.
That's Honorable Felix Kwachio Fozo. He's Minister of State in charge of Government Communications and MP for Abra Sebo Kwamankese. Vitus Azim is an anti-corruption campaigner. He's joined us on the line. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
What do you make of this very stern warning given by the president and the whip that he's already cracked on persons who fail to declare their assets?
I think it's a very important decision that the president has taken, because this law has been in existence since 1998. The Asset Declaration Act has been in existence since 1998, and we don't seem to be doing anything about it. Even the Auditor General doesn't publish names of people that have either declared or not declared. And for those who have not declared, no action has been taken against them. So if today the president is saying this is a good initiative, but we're still yet to see the actual action taken against those that have defaulted. The names of the people must be published. The sanctions imposed on them must be published, so that we know that he's actually determined to ensure that people abide by the laws of the country.
I'll ask you the question as a minister. So it is an illegality or is a wrongful thing if you do not declare during the stipulated period. I think he believes, he's not sure, but he says it may be 6 months. That's the window that is given to appointees. I don't know if you know more about what the law states and what the consequence is. He says you may be barred from...
It's an illegality. It is an illegality.
If and what's the period? What's the duration?
The Constitution says upon assumption of office.
Yeah, but does it give a grace period, a duration by which you should
do
the declaration?
It doesn't give a grace period. It says upon assumption of office. It's just that Parliament decided to water down that constitutional provision by saying that within 6 months. That's not what the Constitution says. And any law that contradicts the Constitution has no value. That does not have any effect.
Wait, so does it mean there's an act now that says within 6 months?
There's an act now that says within 6 months.
So the act has come to essentially, enforce what the Constitution. If the provision in the Constitution says upon assumption of office, that's very vague. So perhaps what the Parliament has done is to give it some more clarity, don't you think? And 6 months, perhaps, in the thinking of Parliament is appropriate, because upon assumption of office is very vague, isn't it?
You and I know when you are sworn in as a Minister of State, your appointment letter has an effective date. There's no doubt about upon assumption of office. Parliament decided to water it down for their own purposes. And as I said, it's null and void. For a Parliament has no right to enact a law that does not comply with what the Constitution says. And we have called, over the years, we have called on constitutional lawyers to go to court, the Supreme Court, and get that act declared null and void. But unfortunately, no lawyer has been bold enough to do that.
But you could go to the court asking for the Supreme Court to do that. You are free to do that as an individual, private person.
Yes, but I don't have the capacity, resource-wise, knowledge-wise, and all that. I don't have the capacity to go to court every day, and you know how the court proceedings go. Even filing the thing is not an easy thing for an ordinary citizen. But why should parliamentarians, who are made, most of whom are lawyers, wait for that to happen? Do they need to be told? I raised this with some parliamentarians, and I said, oh, see, they need 6 months to prepare. Do you need 6 months to prepare? And what the president has done has shown that they don't actually need 6 months to prepare the asset declaration. The president has given about 3 months or even less. So he has proved that you don't need 3 months or 6 months to declare your assets. And I've said that 6 months is a long time for people to acquire assets and attribute it to assets they own before coming into public office. So that is already a weakness in the law itself that has been passed by Parliament.
So how immediately do you consider upon assumption of office to be? Should it be the first day of assumption, second day, or the same day?
I think that if you have gone through Parliament as a minister and Parliament has approved you and you have been sworn in by the President, that is the day that you should present your asset declaration. If you are any other public officer, you have an appointment letter that has an effective date that you report in your office for work. That is the day that you submit your report, your asset declaration. I was an assemblyman as far back as 1989. We declared our assets as an assemblyman under the PNDC. So there's no doubt, there's no issue about upon assumption of office, there's no doubt about it. Just that Parliament, because they were affected, decided to water down the law. And I think that's wrong. And I think the President's action, even though it's a half measure, because he should have said that bring your asset claim before you swear in.
Okay.
But he gave them some time, which is still, let's say that's even acceptable. But even that some ministers have still failed to comply.
So he says he's sacking those who don't do it by the stipulated time from his government. You believe that's punitive enough?
It is punitive enough, but whether it will work, I think that maybe the best approach would have been for him to refer it to the Commission on Human Rights and Justice that the Constitution provides in Article 287 for any punitive action that should be taken against people who have failed to declare their assets. That's a state mandatory institution that has been given the constitutional responsibility to take action on people who have failed to comply with the asset declaration regime.
Let's look at this directive with a human face now. You hire someone to work for 4 months, you decide to take his salary because of an action he may have been involved in. You are starving him of his salary for 4 months. Are you not giving him the incentive or the ideas to explore other avenues of making money outside his salary? Could this not, bring about more corruption, which we were trying to fight?
Well, it may bring about more corruption, but you were warned, you were told that do this to avoid this. And you see, again, that was not what he told them at the time he was asking them to declare their assets. He didn't talk of forfeiting their salaries. So why this thing? That is, from your point of view, look at it from the human face. He didn't say that they will be made to forfeit their salary. So why is he saying that they should forfeit their salary? That's why I said the best is to refer the matter to the Commission on Human Rights, take action against those who have failed to declare their assets, rather than come out with this other thing that is not part of, that is not in the law. It wasn't what he told them at the beginning.
But he's their boss. He can choose to fire them for any stated ground. Even he doesn't even need to have a ground.
Yes, that is true. But he's also using the law. Article 286 and 87 of the Constitution. So why don't you allow the law to take its course?
Should he refer such persons to the, aside the Shraj, could there be a criminal investigation into this, you think, or this would go rather more on the administrative side of things?
I say it is the Commission on Human Rights that
should deal with
power,
it.
has been gathered, to deal with it.
Very well.
And it includes even banning them from holding any public office in the future.
Yeah, I said so for 10 years. Very well. Thank you. Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too. That's Vitus Azim. He's anti-corruption crusader. Professor Bafo Ajimandua is a governance analyst. Prof, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you for having me.
What President Mahama has said, is this something you would teach in your governance class to future leaders to say to them that this is how to crack the whip and it will work?
You're talking about the salaries that have been pegged to.
Yes, he says that if you have not declared your you have not declared your assets within the period that has been directed to you, first of all, you're going to forfeit your salaries for 3 months. You're also going to donate one of your monthly salaries to the Ghana Mahama Cares project, where we are going to deal with healthcare challenges and how to fix them. And if you do not obey his instructions, he kicks you out of his government.
Yeah. Well, in the first place, I think those who defied the presidential directive, who are now being penalized by losing 3 months of their salary, I wish the president had taken a more, stringent kind of decision on that, because this was a presidential directive made publicly. So for any appointee to have the effrontery to defy the president's directive, I think it's a much more serious issue. But of course, I think the president has acted humanely by being magnanimous and simply saying, well, at least for the first time, I'm just docking 3 months of your salary. But if you fail within the next 20 hours or so, then you are gone. I mean, you lose your job. So I think he deliberately put on some human face in this respect. As for the salary, it's a very interesting way to sanction someone who has defied your orders, because salaries. I don't know whether that was a pre-negotiation or not, but as somebody has said, if you are taking my 3 months salary away, how am I going to pay for my rent? How am I going to feed my family? So all these questions become important. So perhaps there was an internal discussion and appointees accepted this kind of sanction. But truly, that wasn't my preference for those who defied the presidential directive.
What would you rather he did or said?
Well, if I say outrightly that they should have been fired, of course, that would be a bit extreme for many people. But truly, you see, I take presidential directives seriously. The president is the executive head of the country, wielding all these powers. So if you are appointed by the president and he gives an order and you blatantly defy it, it's an insult to the president. That's the way I see it. In that respect, I would have fired you right away. Okay? That didn't happen, and he had decided otherwise. So I won't begrudge the president of his discretionary powers to decide on what to do, but certainly it wasn't a good show by those who defied his powers. And I think dismissals would have been perhaps a more dignified way to treat them. Also to show the seriousness of this particular action.
A first warning, you do not think is proper?
Well, if it was a warning, fine. Then the salary issue may not have come. I mean,
the salary is part of the warning. So the next thing is you go out.
So taking somebody's salary is not a warning. It's really depriving the person of his livelihood. So it's not a warning. You see, it's not a warning at all. I guess, as I said, this president is very humane in many ways. So I'm not surprised he chose this kind of approach in order not to perhaps jeopardize the political careers of some of those he has appointed. So I think he simply has put up a human face on an issue that otherwise could have been a more serious, matter to handle.
Prof, you made a statement. You said this president is very humane in many ways. Mind expatiating on that?
Yes.
It sounds very,
oh, yes. I know the
celebratory.
President, and I think, if you know the president, you know that he's not the type who will easily, shoot someone with a cane. That could be a weakness in a way. If you're a leader and you cannot take a firm stand, that in itself could be a weakness. But I think in this case, and I really wish maybe 2 weeks to the deadline, he could have sent a quiet reminder to those people that, look, don't forget I told you by 31st March, if you have not done this, you'll be gone. If that had been done, I'm sure this situation could have been avoided. And if it was done and they still defy him, then of course today we have expected outright dismissal. So again, it's a matter of approach and how he wants to handle his own appointees.
This humaneness you mentioned, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Look, if you're a leader, there are so many factors you take into account in making final decisions. I'm sure maybe prior to his announcement today, perhaps there was some meeting to find a way to mitigate how he was going to sanction them and all. And knowing Ghana as I do, I'm sure people may have gone privately to plead, Mr. President, So maybe the salary thing was a compromise. Again, we are speculating here because I don't know exactly what transpired. But all I'm saying is that Mr. President could be a bit gentle on these matters. But frankly, if he goes on like that, then people are going to see him as a weak leader. So I think this should be the last time any of his appointees should defy him. Otherwise, we should expect a more drastic stance by the president.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
My pleasure.
That's Professor Bafo Jimendua. He's a governance analyst speaking to us there. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Your messages are coming through. Daniel Akpaliok sends a message from Sandeman. He says President Mahama's bold decision to sanction appointees who defied asset declaration orders sends a clear message. Under the NDC, accountability is non-negotiable. It shows leadership with integrity, unlike the NPP's culture of shielding corrupt cronies. The NDC stands for discipline, transparency, and service to the people, not self-enrichment. Zilis Dwayne from London says Ghana will be great under JM again. Nene Gaddafi from Yilo Krobo says leadership is working and Ghana is back to the development road. I really salute the bold steps taken by the first gentleman of the land. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Francis says if we don't know those who did not declare, how will we believe it? Okay, the Honorable Felix Kwachofu says by tomorrow they'll give us details. Jones Aduboy-Inla says, good evening, Omaru. We must applaud the president for such a bold decision. This is a president you can trust. As for the demonstration, we all have our right to demonstrate. It will help them to shed some calories after chopping money nyafu. Congrats to Alfredo's Ni Anyete, who is MC nominee for La. You put everything together in one message, Jones. Very well. Ismail in Tema says, good evening, Citi. The president has done a marvelous job. Indeed, Mahama is working. And that's a message. He said, if you want to send a message to the number on WhatsApp is 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. In case you are not aware what we are discussing, this is what the President John Dramani Mahama said to his appointees a short while ago.
By close of day Wednesday, 7th May 2025, any of you still fails to declare your assets, count yourself automatically dismissed.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Are you feeling tired after a hard day's work? Have you lost your appetite even for your favorite dish? Viral Blood Tonic is a nutritionally balanced, pleasant-tasting tonic fortified with iron and vitamins to boost your appetite and energy levels for high performance. Viral Blood Tonic, easy to take and good for the family. Viral from Danex Iting Starwin PLC. If symptoms persist after 48 hours, consult a physician. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, Akos, you know we have been friends since childhood and we always tell each other everything.
Oh, Cynthia, I know that. And that is why you're my best friend.
We even eat together and I have spare keys to your room. I also know your phone password.
Cynthia, don't I also know your phone password?
Yes, so, but what about your Momo PIN?
Hey, no way.
Indeed, Akos, your Momo PIN is your secret. Do not share your PIN for any reason or give your PIN to someone to send cash on your behalf. Debida, never give out your PIN or OTP as a means of claiming a so-called promotional prize one. Your PIN is like your toothbrush. It only belongs to you. Stay alert.
MTN. Sewudru krum. Now yes, charcoal toothpaste. Yes, charcoal toothpaste. Aya no ya hwe yi. No bi amfa so ho anan wa chenchena. Esa ne say charcoal toothpaste bebre ana wodwa so. Nanso nyane nyina na yema wo sen. Titru mpo ne se wo nyini no. Bon ho modin se wo beto charcoal toothpaste a ye di bidi ankasa ye na anya dai keke na bi agumu. Na wo de yin keka wa firu simu. Na wo se anya hoden na se fita. To charcoal toothpaste fluoride ewo mu na bo se ho ban na mana ye din da ekosi se obaba akokora na sa abrewa. Pepsodent charcoal toothpaste die wo di bidie lemon mint ana zinc ana akabo mu aye enti ma wo se ye din na wonum so ahwam de mu ni nyina. Pepsodent die yenim no dada o enti wasan de bidie lemon and mint akabo mu aye die ene na kire se yesen adamfo no no ebem wonum ahwam na bo se ho ban afiri kekawa bia mu. To Pepsodent charcoal toothpaste fetwi usin na mo se ho ban abrebia.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Yeah, welcome back. Now, a coalition of political parties led by the New Patriotic Party (NPP) has petitioned President John Dramani Mahama over the suspension of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. The group, which includes the Liberal Party of Ghana (LPG), the National Democratic Party (NDP), the People's National Party (PNP), and the Ghana Union Movement, described the suspension as a politically motivated attack on judicial independence. Protesters marched from the Supreme Court to Parliament and concluded at the Jubilee House. Presenting the petition, Minority Leader Alexander Fenyomarkin said the action is meant to defend the judiciary's independence and oppose what they described as an unconstitutional move.
There must be an end to this issue of you do me, I do you. There must be an end to retaliatory politics. In Ghana today, all of us as political actors have a story to tell. Where do we end the vicious cycle? It is not yielding to the whims of hawks and hardliners in our respective political parties that will make us better political leaders. We believe that the hawks must be pushed back onto the fringes so that the centrists can take the center stage for the good of our country. In today's era of social media, you cannot control what gets onto the streets, and this democracy must be protected and safeguarded. So, my respected brother and friend, this is to you. The language is very respectful and decent and expresses our views because we know we are addressing the president. We hope that it shall receive the needed support for the Chief Justice to go back to her office and do her work.
That was the voice of Minority Leader Alexander Fenyomarkin. Meanwhile, the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations at the presidency, Stan Dogbe, assured that the government would attend to the petition.
Let me say that we are happy that your process started this morning and has ended very peacefully. That in itself is a very strong message about the democracy that President Mahama wants to instill in our dear country. If it were the case like this over the past 8 years, I'm sure that the retaliatory politics that you talk about wouldn't have been the case. You referencing retaliatory politics is an admission that the 8 years of President Akufo-Addo and Mahama Bawumia were not the best for this country. You can be assured, however, that President Mahama, as every Ghanaian knows, is not that politician. President Mahama does not believe in retaliatory politics. He's described as, too much of a father for all kind of presidents, and everybody knows that. Whatever actions that are being taken now, whatever decisions that are being taken now, as everybody knows, is in line with the provisions of our 1992 Constitution. Indeed, before President Akufo-Addo left the presidency, he himself had started a certain process where issues were brought to him about the Chief Justice, and he referred them to the Council of State. And that is what President Mahama has done. It is not about retaliating on something that was done by the previous administration against President Mahama or the NDC. So the process that is ongoing is constitutional, and I do believe that if the committee that has been set completes its work, whatever decisions that they make, just as the Council of State's advice to the President was binding on him, it will be binding on him. I can assure you and the people of Ghana that we appreciate the fact that just as government ensured that you went about your demonstration peacefully, there was one also last weekend, peacefully without any attempt at preventing you from expressing yourselves. We would continue to allow for that peaceful expression of ourselves in this country under President Mahama. Nobody is going to inhibit or stop anybody from going that. That should tell you that President Mahama in less than 120 days has demonstrated how he is going to save the democracy of Ghana. He's going to grow the democracy of this country, and we are going to be together. We will work together. We will work together with you and all the political parties, and your petition will be given the due response. I thank you very much, my brother.
Standogwe is Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations at the presidency.
Richard Ahiagba is Director of Communications of the NPP, the party that led the demonstration today. Mr. Ahiagba, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Mr. Sanda, thank you.
How are you?
I'm well.
I
hope you are well too.
I'm well. Have you fully recovered from the defeat? I haven't spoken to you since. That's why I'm asking you.
Yes. I am about 90% recovered, and I think I'm back to where I used to be.
You're a strong man now. You're a strong man. The demonstration is generally described as NPP and allied parties. Who are the other people who joined you apart from NPP people for the demonstration today?
Thank you, Maru. It's a coalition of political parties, and we expect that this coalition will grow and will endure because the threats for which we stepped out today remains very much in place until we hear from the President in response to the 3 demands that we make in our petition. But we believe that we will grow. The key members, I think, as we have it now, is the New Patriotic Party alongside the LPG, the Liberal Party of Ghana, the People's National Party, the National Democratic Party. These are the core members of the coalition that's demonstrated today to tell the President to get his hands off our judiciary.
I think I saw a communication somewhere by another group claiming to be the NDP, which said it was not going to be part of your demonstration anyway.
No, that's the machination of the apparatus that are opposed to this demonstration. I think that the flag bearer, the 2024 flag bearer, Mohammed Frimpong, spoke on earlier platform at the premises of the Supreme Court. Before we left, he was on the demonstration all the way to the Jubilee House. So that's a false claim made by whatever that publication said.
Very well, that's right. Let's talk about the reason you went on the street. Would you say you've been able to send your message properly? Ghanaians have heard you, the presidency has?
Absolutely. Before even we stepped on the streets, the Ghanaians woke up to the reality and they started smelling the coffee before we hit the roads today. On May Day, the organized labor indicated their strong opposition to the effort, whatever the reasons are, to the attempt to undermine the judiciary, to subjugate it to the will of the executive. And they asked the President to proceed with reasonable caution. And I think that that's the strongest possible indication that all of Ghanaians are not in support of the move the President is making to remove the Chief Justice, thereby undermine the judiciary. You know that organized labor encompasses the vast space in our society. You have doctors there, the Ghana Medical Association is there, Ghana National Association of Teachers is part of it, CLOSAD. We have a federation of, Ghana Federation of Labor is there. So it's a broad spectrum of our society that is represented by organized labor. So their message was loud and clear to the president that this is a no-go area. So before we get out, this were the indication. The Ghana Bar Association were clear in their mind. They're arguing from the standpoint of law to say that the president's approach is wrong, and asked also, they demanded that the president rescind the decision to suspend the Chief Justice. We think that the president should listen to the people because he's a product of democracy. He cannot pretend to be a dictator when he was elected democratically. So I think that Ghanaians are aligned with our message and the demand that we're making. There's a consensus across this country. And you, Sandra, that you know that this here is something that you yourself, your right to practice your profession, which you love and which you are good at. To practice it, you need the Constitution to guarantee that right. The president's efforts, what he's doing now is aiming at our democracy, and I believe that when the judiciary is completely invalidated and subject to the executive, your right, your claim to Article 21 protections would completely be undermined, and you have a judiciary that don't care much because their preoccupation is not justice, but the service to the political powers of the day. And I think that is a travesty and we shouldn't allow it. So you in your studios, Umaru, you are aligned and you must be aligned in fighting this cause for democracy, not for anybody else, but for democracy.
The actors within the governing party would say that they are simply following the dictates of the Constitution. So when you say what is happening is wrong, they are see as to what exactly you mean.
Yeah, Umaru, that's the argument they are promoting, but that is a completely flawed argument, and they know it. The only recourse they have is to claim the law. But you know the law can be applied many different ways. This conversation is not about law, it's not about process, it's about the politics of the NDC, clearly determined to remove the Chief Justice, go on to do other things to serve a certain sinister purpose, which we think amongst them is to pave way for a certain judicial interpretation of Article 66(2) to allow the president to run a third term. That is part of our petition today. We ask the president that this concern is simmering. People are worried. People are entertaining that possibly this is what is afoot with all his decisions and posturing towards the judiciary. So we want him to come clear and indicate to the country that that's not what he's doing. Okay, so we can then cross that off our worry checklist. But meanwhile, that is something that we think is happening. So really, it is not about law. If it comes to the law, all of us agree that Article 146 is completely a non-starter, that something ought to be done about it, that the judiciary, like the legislature and the executive, the threshold there for its removal or any punitive sanction against the leaders or the head of the judiciary must be tightened to allow for some discipline or to make it difficult for anybody to want to tamper with the judiciary. So as for that, there is no question about that. But the politics, which we know reasonably, given indications from what they have said on the campaign, the 8 years that President Mahama was in opposition, he was very clear. And the NDC, I think in your own studio, Felix Kwachofosu speaking with Bernard Avle indicated that the judiciary has not been fair to the NDC. So really now that they are in power, apart from the president himself in opposition telling NDC lawyers to be prepared to mount the bench, and now that he's in power, making that conscious effort to pack the court. Recently you saw about seven, something that is out of left field, 7 appeals court judges prepared now. If Parliament approves them, then they go to the bench. This has never happened at one go, this appointment. So we see a certain pattern unfolding, which is threatening of our democracy, which is threatening the sanctity and the independence of the judiciary. And we think that that's really where the matter is. So it's not law, it's politics. They have a premeditated agenda. They give indication to it in opposition. Now that they are in government, they are taking steps to realize it. And so that's where the issue is. So anytime they dangle this around and say he has not breached any process or breached any process, it's a ruse. They are seeking to divert our attention to focus on law and be stymied in the conversation about law. This person quotes that person quotes this, and then that gives them leeway to advance their politics. But we are alive to it. We realize what they are up to, and we will not do it. It's just because
when you say we shouldn't listen to the law, we shouldn't follow them when they talk about the law, that would be very strange. I mean, for a law-abiding party, a party that has boasted of enriching our laws, you should be the last person to uninvite us to a party about law. No?
Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to the law. I'm saying that on the law, we all agree that there are elements or the proposition in Article 146, the process to remove a chief justice is flawed. It's one that we need to amend that very quickly.
So you believe? Hold on a second. Let me just get it. So you think the law as enshrined in the Constitution of 1992 is flawed?
It's problematic. Okay. Yes.
You know that. Even if it is problematic in your view, it remains a law until it is amended.
There's no issue about that.
Correct.
That's why I'm not arguing the law.
To the extent, so to the extent that it has not been amended, it remains a law. Even if it's obnoxious, even if it is atrocious, it remains a law until it is amended, and you cannot prevent the presidency from using it or applying it.
We're not.
So why don't you rather go to the Supreme Court and say, listen, we think this part of the Constitution is wrong, and I'm not even sure if it's the Supreme Court you should go to, maybe Parliament, if it's an unentrenched position, and ask Parliament to work towards amending it. If it has to go through the public, you do that. But I'm not sure you would say that a law that is sitting on the books should be ignored because you think it is flawed. A law that you have used in the past, is difficult.
So Omaro, so what I'm trying to let you understand is that is not a conversation that is of consequence, because we said there's a problem. The problem is what we are dealing with. The process, the punishment that is being spelled out in law, to address any such problem, that one is black and white. It's 146. Our concerns with it is not to say that you are not following it. There is Ghana Bar Association that says that to apply that faithfully, then you need that to be checked by Article 296. So that one is the law aspect which they are arguing and they're claiming they haven't done anything wrong, but the GBA thinks that they've gone against the Constitution. So that one is there. But I'm telling you that what is bringing this trouble to all of us, this anxiety to all of us, is the politics, the premeditation, to undermine the judiciary, to get a certain judiciary that is pliant to the needs of the executive. That's the problem. So you can argue law all you want, but then the idea which is creating the problem, the cause of the problem, is political. So we need to tackle that one. You can talk about the law, because 146, what can you do about it? You have to appeal. You have to have the Constitutional Review Committee that is working to do something about it, propose amendment and all that. That's a future process. Now implementing it is not a problem. We're saying that what is bringing about the triggering of 146, that is the politics. So you don't bypass the cause and be treating the symptom. The symptom of what we are doing here, which is manifest for everybody to see, is 146. We have done this, we have done that. But we are saying that this disease you are trying to treat by 146 it's a trumped up disease. It's not real. You are creating that disease out of thin air to satisfy your politics. That's the point we are making. That disease they are saying it is there, for which reason they are triggering 146, is a fake disease. It's a trumped up disease that they are creating so they can remove the Chief Justice. That's the point, Omar.
Now, while we are at that, the issue about the law, you have a difficulty. You do not think that it is being properly
not me, GBA said so. But I'm just telling you that let's not waste our time debating law, because the problem we have was not brought about by law. It was brought about by people's politics So if we bypass the politics and are talking law, we are just giving them a field day to pursue their politics because the law has a problem.
You have suggested that the plan to remove the Chief Justice is one of many. It's going to be a domino effect kind of thing. What else is going to happen if this succeeds?
Omaro, I said this in your studios before, I think on a big issue. The key thing is that the president, right now as we speak, receives petitions to remove the chief, what is called the EC chairs, way back in January 2025. Those petitions are sitting on his desk. In Article 146, his role in this is transmitted, not determinative. But he's holding on to those things. What is he holding on to that petition for? And then now he's acting on the petition received later on after the January one to remove EC. Why is he holding on to the EC one and acting on the Supreme Court one? Can't he act on those concurrently? But the point here is that he's waiting to get a Chief Justice of his choice who is in on the politics, who is in on the darkroom politics they have premeditated to implement to come. And when he comes, with alacrity, he's going to take the removal of the EC chairs and then advance that agenda. And we have the fear, Omar, that there is an attempt packing the court as we have seen it. There's an attempt.
An attempt to
sponsor a certain judicial interpretation of Article 66 to mean one thing or the other that favors the president. In other words, giving him a leeway to be able to run a third term without having to go to a referendum to amend or repeal the provision of 62, which is an entrenched clause. So this is a dangerous matter that's unfolding right before our eyes, and it is about politics. And it's all about law. We need to be clear on that one.
Okay. Before you go, there's a video that is trending, which video shows the minority leader Alexander Peño Markin in what appears to be him hitting a policeman on the head. I noticed that you are in that video as well. What happened?
Tomorrow, this was when we just got to Parliament and we had gone back and forth. We had made ample arrangements beforehand. We have an advanced team that was engaging on the ground, and there was a formula we were going to use to meet with them. But in the process of demonstration, there was push and shove up and down around where space was created for people. We had about 10 people consistently who go up and down to submit the petitions. And so when we needed to cross the barricade to go to the side where we present the petition, there was a very heavy tussle with a lot of people in the space. And in the process of time, one of the police officers actually hit the minority leader right on the chest. And it was the soul, I don't know if I should say the soul, but almost like a blow. He hit them, like the impact was very hard. And so I was standing right behind him, trying to shepherd him to get in, and he paused for a moment. And so it was his reflex that you see was trying to push the guy away because he was coming the second time, and he was trying to push him away. You understand? So I think that this should not become the highlight of this exercise.
So in trying to push him away, he hit the policeman on the head.
Sorry?
Did he hit the policeman on the head?
In the heat of things, because he had no business hitting him at all.
But
so if there's any claim here of assault, then that assault will be on Peño Markin, because he, as the leader of Parliament, if that policeman doesn't know him, then I'm sorry. But right in the precinct of Parliament, a minority leader of the House,
he
actually hit him. So he was actually aiming to hit the man.
So did Alex Peño Markin, the minority leader, hit the policeman back?
No, he didn't. In his reflex to prevent, because the guy was getting ready to come back the second time, and in his reflex to try to push him not to get to hit him again, cameras, they have picked it up such that his hands were closed. And you saw myself extending my hand just to try to prevent the guy from coming the second time. So
his reflex did not make him hit the policeman.
But I'm saying that about Omar, where you are sitting, if somebody hits you, reflex, is one thing. It's not. He did not purpose that he was going to hit him.
I know. So I just wanted. You were there. I mean, I saw it from the video. I just wanted you were there. So did he hit him? Did he hit
but I smell the mischief in your questioning. But the point I want to make is that
I'm just asking you a harmless question. Did the MP hit?
For how many years? If I don't know you, then I have a question to answer to myself. But the point was that he was.
Okay, fine. If you know me, then you would answer my question yes or no.
But I've answered your question.
No. Did he hit him, or did the minority leader hit the policeman on the head? Yes or no?
Omaro, the reflex of the minority leader in seeking to stop the person from hitting the second time, your cameras may have picked it as if he's aiming for the guy, but no, he was protecting himself. And the hit, I can testify to you, was hard.
So he hit him in defense?
No, he didn't hit him. He was trying to prevent the man from hitting because there was no business the man hitting him in the first place.
Thank you for speaking to me.
Omaro, let me put this on record. The police actually aimed and hit him.
Very well.
And in self-defense was trying to prevent that from happening. Your cameras may have picked it as though that he was aiming for the guy, but that was not what happened.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you, Omaro.
That's Richard Ahiagba, Director of Communication, NPP. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Nashka.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu has accused some shortlisted metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives of influencing assembly members to reject presidential nominees. This comes after the nominee for the Shai Usuduku District Assembly, Ignatius Godfrey Dodo, failed to secure the required votes, receiving 17 out of 32. Speaking to journalists, Linda Oklu warned that no new candidate will be nominated if assemblies continue to reject the president's choices.
A lot of people applied for becoming the DC, and so those shortlisted, this is not the only place that happens. I mean, we witnessed that at Ayawaso Central, we also witnessed them at Ayawaso West Wagon. And so those are things, my dear, if we should, instigate people not to vote for the nominee, the president nominee, by disgracing the president, my dear, if you think because your name is shortlisted, you will be appointed, my dear, it's a lie. We'll make sure that if you don't appoint the nominee, those shortlisted will also make sure that they will not be appointed. Even if we have to reappoint someone, we'll go outside the box to do that.
He had there the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu. We stay a bit longer on here because the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu has reported that 20% of the street lights fixed on major streets in the capital have been stolen. This comes after 80% of the street lights were fixed by the government. Linda Oklu made the statement while addressing the Shai Usuduku District Assembly ahead of the confirmation of the DCE nominee. She urged the assembly members to fully endorse the president's nominee to ensure measures are put in place to safeguard the fixed street lights.
We are entering into the flooding season, and so the DCE should be at post, and so that they can do some of the works for us. We also started with the street lights project, which, as I'm speaking to you now, we were able to at least had 80% of the streets fixed, and as I'm speaking to you now, almost 20% is gone because of theft. And so we need DCs badly to be in office so that they can also take some of the burden and work towards it. So I'm pleading to everyone, in case I've offended anybody here, please find in your heart to forgive me.
That was the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu speaking there.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Mango hot pepper powder. Loco shoe. This advert is FDA approved. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I'm Nashika Caesar. Let's settle for the details. The government indebtedness to the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation (GNPC) has increased to $1.25 billion as of December 2024. This is according to the latest report by the Public Interest and Accountability Committee (PIAC). The report has once again flagged growing concerns over the financial sustainability of the state-owned oil company. It highlights the mounting liabilities as a major threat to the operational capacity and long-term viability of GNPC, warning that continued delays in settling government obligations could undermine the ability of the GNPC to deliver on its strategic mandate in Ghana's energy sector. Daniel Sakiti has more in this report.
The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, in its 2021 annual report, revealed that GNPC was unable to recover $126 million in budgeted revenue from loans and guarantees, which form part of cumulative $380 million owed by the government and its agencies since 2011. PIAC had urged the GNPC to intensify efforts to recover these outstanding amounts in order to safeguard the implementation of its work program. It also advised the corporation to discontinue the issuance of new loans and guarantees until significant repayments were made. Despite this, PIAC's latest report shows that government's indebtedness to GNPC has surged to $1.25 billion as at the end of December 2024, driven by additional disbursements and guarantees made by the corporation. The committee has expressed strong disapproval of government's continued reliance on GNPC for financing and has once again called for urgent repayment of outstanding debt to preserve the corporation's financial viability.
That was Daniel Sakiti with that report. Now, the Ghana Shippers Authority is intensifying engagement with stakeholders to reduce the cost of doing business in commercial shipping sector. CEO of the authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, has been holding discussions with air freight players at the Kotoka International Airport, including a meeting with the management of the Ghana Airport Company Limited. The CEO has also been meeting freight forwarders and major ground handling and cargo companies, Aviance Ghana and Swissport Ghana, all in a bid to roll out measures needed to cut air freight costs and bring reprieve to importers.
We've met with our stakeholders who operate in the area of the seas, and then we've met with those who operate on the land, and today we came to meet with stakeholders who operate, cargoes that use the air. We've been to aviation, and then we are at Aviance, and we've had extensive discussions about what can be done to improve trade, what can be done to protect the interest of shippers, what can be done to protect the interest of shipping service providers. Okay, so the Ghana Shippers Authority exists to protect the interest of shippers. Here we are talking about the many charges that are slapped on the kinds of things that they try to ship, and then our new law mandates us to be able to look at those charges and to negotiate their downward review.
Professor Ransford Jampo is CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. Away from that, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has inaugurated a 6-member board to steer Ghana's Forest Plantation Development Fund with a clear focus on restoring the country's depleted forest cover. The board is expected to play a critical role in mobilizing private sector investment and promoting sustainable forestry practices. Daniel Odrumensa has more in this report.
The newly inaugurated board has been given a broad mandate, including ensuring transparency and efficiency in the management of the Forest Plantation Development Fund. Its responsibilities also include developing incentives to attract private sector participation and financing innovative forest-based projects. In addition, the board is expected to fast-track financial support for plantation initiatives, foster stronger public-private partnerships in the forestry space, and lead the rollout of the Tree for Life Reforestation Initiative. The ministry says the initiative is part part of a larger national effort to integrate financial innovation with ecological restoration, addressing the ongoing challenges of deforestation and environmental degradation. In an interview with Citi Business News, a board member and national president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Wepia Awal Adugwala, stressed the board's potential to support farmers across the country.
It's going to support agriculture. For us as farmers, the forest regulates the temperature for us to be able to carry out our economic activities, food crop production. And if you look at where we are from all the research papers that we have been reading, Ghana has lost so much forest cover over the years. So the board is looking at how we mobilize resources, how we can go into plantation, mobilizing capital, supporting the private forest plantation developers, and so on and so forth.
You had a board member of the Forest Plantation Development and National President for the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Awal Wepia Adugwala, ending that report by Daniel Udu-Mensah. Now, the Bank of Ghana has injected $20 million into foreign exchange market in the latest round of its foreign FX auction targeted at bulk oil distribution companies, BDCs. The intervention, which benefited 11 BDCs, is part of the central bank's broader strategy to stabilize the city and ensure price stability in the petroleum downstream sector. And that's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I'm Nashika Caesar. Thanks for your time.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Gugomi, at what time when you come back we are not hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so. This is the type of fuel where they want to. Cause now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir. Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open it. Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel? Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you. Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside? I give you info, make a fill the gobe too small. Go! Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Polytank is everywhere, durable and authentic. Stronger brand you can trust. Polytank, we get some more Rambo and get some more Super. And the Polytank, we did Polytank.
Always the best.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Gugomi, at what time when you come back we are not hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so. This is the type of fuel where they want to. Cause now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir. Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open it. Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel? Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you. Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside? I give you info, make a fill the gobe too small. Go. Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. This would have been the time for Point Blank, but we have a big English Premier League game coming up tonight. You do know that we are the station with the right to carry the EPL, and the Citi Sports team has been constantly bringing you the coverage. So tonight we have a game. Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. It's a Premier League game at the Selhurst Park. So Benjamin Ketia and the team would be joining you in a bit to bring you commentary and analysis. So I'll leave you in their hands. Good night.
Citi News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on